events. For more, we want to welcome in Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, great to be with you this morning. So do you have the votes today to send this to the Senate?
We'll soon find out. I hope so. This is something we owe to the American people, as was noted. It's about a 90% issue, my friends. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. Only U.S. citizens should decide U.S. elections. That is current federal law. But the problem is right now, we have no mechanism to ensure that non-citizens aren't participating. All these millions of illegals who have flooded over that open border since the border czar Kamala Harris and Joe Biden opened it, many of them are signing up to vote. And we can't allow them to taint the election. So this is our last opportunity to require proof of citizenship for someone to participate in the election cycle. We have at least 6 or 7 states that have already done audits and proven they have non-citizens on the rolls. It's a serious and immediate problem, and Congress has to address it, and we're going to do that today.
Okay. Right now, in the SAVE Act, I should note, was passed by the House July 10th. Of this summer. So not that long ago, the Senate hasn't done anything with it. Right now, you're dealing with at least 4 holdouts on the Republican side of the aisle. Corey Mills has been extremely vocal about this. If this doesn't work out, are you willing to shut down the government a month away from an election and take on the responsibility of what that would mean for somebody like Donald Trump campaigning for the White House?
Yeah, Rob, I don't think it's going to come to that. Look, we're on the field in the middle of the game. We're running this play today, and I intend to score, right? There's a playbook with lots of ideas, but we're not discussing a plan B. This is the play, and the reason it is because it's the right thing to do. This is the principled position. It's what we're required to do everything within our power to secure that election. Everywhere I go around the country, Rob, I've been traveling nonstop. I've done campaign events in over 205 cities now in 40 states so far. Every public forum, without exception, the first or second question from the audience is, can we count on the integrity of the election? I mean, this is a big, big thing. And we have an opportunity today to force that, to try to force the hand of Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate. This is our opportunity to do it, and we've got to go for it.
So Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the measure is dead on arrival in the Senate. President Joe Biden promised to veto the measure if given the chance. Do the two need to be bundled together?
They do. And let me say this. If we pass this out of the House, which I intend to do today, we send that to the Senate, the Republicans will have done our job. We will have funded the government. We will push that into the first quarter of next year, a 6-month CR, which will then allow us to be in the driver's seat for federal spending. That's when President Trump will be reelected as president. We'll have Republican control of the Senate and the House, we're convinced, and we will be able to actually do spending reform like we all want to do. That's a very important step. But we pass this today. We send that over there. If Chuck Schumer decides not to run that bill, then it is he who will be deciding to shut down the government, not the Republicans.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if this doesn't pass in the House today. That's an embarrassment, Mr. Speaker.
Well, look, it's not an embarrassment. This is a process. We're in a legislative chamber. We build consensus. We have the smallest majority in U.S. history in this Congress. For 5 months, I had a 1-vote margin. So nothing's easy, but we have to get the hard work done, and that's what we work on every day. We'll build consensus, and we'll get the job done.
Okay. Well, it is, because you need to be able to whip the vote as Speaker of the House. And this is a big one, 48 days away from Election Day. Your colleague in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, Republican, said, and this is a quote, "One thing you cannot have is a government shutdown. It would be politically beyond stupid for us to do that right now before the election, because certainly we'd get the blame. I'm for whatever avoids a government shutdown." So let's play this out. And I should note that you guys go on recess, September 27th? So everybody wants to get home to their districts because everybody's running for re-election on November the 5th, and they want to be able to use the month of October to campaign. So that is also an issue here. But let's play this out. Let's say this doesn't pass today in the House. What's the next step?
I don't telegraph next steps. We're not talking about Plan B. As I said, they're about to hike the ball, and we're going to run this play. And so I've got to be very aggressive in forcing it down the field and making sure everybody, all of our players, using the football metaphor, all of our players on the field know their position. I got a couple of guys who are holdouts because they don't like continuing resolutions. Guess what? I don't either. It's no way to run a railroad. But here's an important thing for everybody to know. This is not the House's fault. We did 12 separate appropriations bills. We got them all through the Appropriations Committee. We put over 73% of funding passed off the House floor already. You know how many bills, the appropriations bills, the Senate has done? 0. Chuck Schumer has failed in his job. And so because we don't have two sets of approach bills, there's no way for us to go to a conference committee and work it out and get the funding done by the deadline on September 30th. So a CR is the only play left on the field. We're running it with the SAVE Act, so we accomplish both of our important objectives at the same time. That's the play today.
Okay, so Mr. Speaker, I want to turn now to the second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Mr. Speaker, I know that you were with the former president just moments after the attempt on his life on Sunday. What did you make of his mood? I know it takes a lot to rattle this man, but how is he doing?
Listen, he is an incredible singular figure in American history. My wife and I, Kelly and I, were happened to be at Mar-a-Lago to meet with him. We spent almost 3 hours with him immediately following the assassination attempt. He was completely unrattled. He's the same steady Donald Trump. Here's the thing about him. There's never been a leader in American history who has been so aggressively attacked and yet remained so resilient and so strong. Donald Trump is fighting for the American people, and there's not anything they can do, even taking shots at the man, that will deter him. And so that's why we love him so much, and that's why we're supporting him, and that's why he's going to help us lead to save this republic.
There are reports out there this morning, Mr. Speaker, that you contacted the White House yesterday to ask why Donald Trump's protection detail hasn't been beefed up. Are those reports true?
Absolutely. I called the White House directly, and I demanded that President Trump get the same level of protection that the sitting president has. He's under so much threat, more than anybody, probably in the modern era, if ever. We have to make sure that the Secret Service is getting the job done. And if they have a personnel problem and we need to supplement it with local and state law enforcement, let's do that. If Congress needs to add a little bit more funding, let's do that. Whatever it takes, get the job done and protect President Trump, for crying out loud.
Okay, couple of questions. You announced yesterday that you're expanding the investigation into assassination attempt number 1 to include assassination attempt number 2. So now Butler, PA, and West Palm Beach, Florida will get the same attention. When does the public start to get questions answered? And I'm talking about basic questions. When we look at the guy who would be assassin number 2, Ryan Ruth in West Palm Beach, here are just a couple questions. How does an unemployed roofer living in Hawaii afford a flight to Florida, afford flights to Washington, D.C. over the last several months, and Ukraine? Don't forget, this guy's a Ukraine fanatic. Who's paying for all this? Where was he staying in Florida? Where did he get that Nissan SUV? Where did he get the gun? This is somebody who had a weapons of mass destruction arrest on his record. So if he bought this gun, how did he do that? And how did he know Donald Trump was going to be on the golf course on Sunday morning? That was not part of his public calendar. Again, Mr. Speaker, I know that you're pressing for these answers, but we just passed 60 years since Kennedy was killed, and more than 80% of Americans think that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. John Wilkes Booth did not act alone. When are we going to start to get answers to just basic questions?
Great, Rob. You're exactly right. The reason I put together that task force and that they're moving so aggressively is because we don't want this to be like a Kennedy assassination conspiracy thing. We've got to get the answers to the American people. Mike Kelly is the chairman of the task force. He is from Butler, Pennsylvania. He's served in Congress for many years. He's got steady hands on the wheel. We did a quick presser yesterday with Hill Press Corps, but they're going to be beginning now weekly press availability to explain the answers that are coming in as they are gathered. You asked some of the right questions. That's some on pages of questions that we have about this. And the thing about this second attempt is we have the shooter live in custody. That's a very rare thing. So we will be able to get those answers and get them to the American people. The main principle here is we have to ensure that the massive security lapses that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and obviously some lapses that happened on Sunday in Florida never happen again. That's the thing. We've got to make sure that Trump is protected and all of our officials are protected. And that's why the task force is doing this really important work. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to ask if you have any concerns about Ryan Ruth's safety between now and trial. Again, I brought up Lee Harvey Oswald, and I bring that up because he never made it to trial after the Kennedy assassination. Do you have any concerns there?
Well, I think we all have concerns, Rob, but I do believe that given the past history of all this, there's very careful custody of this individual. He has a lot of information that we all need, and to secure the president and the former president and everyone going forward, we've got to learn what we can from this individual. I think he'll be well protected. I certainly hope and demand that that's true. But in the meantime, the task force is doing really deliberate work. They've already collected thousands of documents regarding the Butler, Pennsylvania event. They've questioned 23 witnesses already. and they're going to be preparing reports. But before the final report is produced, there'll be information forthcoming now every week now here forward. This is serious business. It's gotten the attention of the whole world. We got to make sure we do this right.
All right. Mr. Speaker, Mike Johnson, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank
Good to see
you.
you.